We're Bison! We are impacted! We're Bison! We're ready to get up! We want to win! Light the fire of power that make us free! We never break down! We want to win! We are impacted! The best team!
Hello and welcome back to TNI-UK Impacted, coming to you live via the Total Nonstop Impact Network on YouTube and of course Twitch. I'm your host Bison, and today I am joined by the one and only Joker, and of course the man simply known as Steve. Hi guys, how are we doing today?
We're good, thank you. How are you?
We're very well, thank you.
Oh, really good, man. Really good. I'm excited. We've got a special guest on today, and I'm really excited to get her on and speak to everybody about her. She's absolutely superb, and really looking forward to it. Looks like we've already got a couple of people in the chat. Keith's turned up. Courtney's in the house.
Yes,
Nice to
Courtney
see
was
Courtney
first,
as always. Yeah, she's always first. She's like our number one fan, Courtney. Number one fan, and we love her. And like I say, Keith's in the house as well. I'm sure they'll start streaming in now over the next couple of minutes. So it's great to see you guys. So what have you been up to this week then, Steve? Working hard, I imagine.
Yeah, and like I say, trying to work out what I'm gonna be doing for the next couple of weeks, like travel wise, how we're gonna be sort of getting up to Coventry and that, sort of trying to plan the old routes.
Yes, so lots going on. So of course, I think I'll be meeting you in Bury. I think, is that right?
Yeah, and obviously sort of, and I don't think it's making things easy because I think the trains are on strike at the moment, aren't they?
Do you know what, mate? Because I don't go on trains, I've got absolutely no idea on that.
Oh yeah, the trains are on strike at the moment, but it's good. That whole thing's going to carry on for the rest of the summer.
Yeah.
So,
are they after pay rises again?
Oh yeah.
No, the whole government's fucked the system up basically. Yeah. So I bat them all the way.
Let's not get into politics, boys. Come on.
No,
this is a wrestling show.
That's where my stance on it is. I support them and I'm leaving it there.
Okay, fair enough. So Bonus Baby's just joined us. We've got Donald Hill in the house. So everyone's coming in, which is fantastic. Talking about AEW already. There you
Christ,
go.
I didn't know that. Wow. I didn't think that Ace Austin made it was out their AEW for the countdown to the Forbidden Door.
Oh right.
I didn't know that.
Defended the exhibition title.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. That's really cool.
He was part of the Bullet Club for a reason, so I guess there we go.
There we go, and he ended up on the show in the end. There you go. You know, we were moaning that how could it be the Forbidden Door without Impact, didn't we? But there you go. So it's all fantastic. Everything's looking good. So what about you, Joe? What have you been up to?
I've been hitting. Well, as you can tell, my mind's a bit buggered. To put it bluntly.
You're back in the void.
Back in the void. The weather's not helping, and the excitement for next week is taking over too much. So it's really hard to focus on anything else. I'm so looking forward to going down to Coventry next week with you guys and seeing this whole Wrestle Carnival show. I even put off watching Impact Wrestling until Monday night because that's how I was just more focused on. Let's just let the week fly by, and then I realized we got Under Siege coming up this week, so I can't just blank that out.
Under Siege? You mean against all odds? Is that what you're saying?
Against all odds. There
you go. But can I just say a quick hello to Hussein, Mir, Bonus Baby. We're all now starting to stream in, which is fantastic. Okay, so now we've got a few people in. I think it's time that we brought in our very, very special guest. Do you think?
Yes.
Yeah. I reckon. So it's with great pleasure we welcome the incredible Becca to the show.
Oh, where's she gone?
Hey!
Fantastic, she made it. And she's here with us today, live from the airport, waiting to head over to the UK, which is absolutely fantastic. And we're really pleased she managed to join us today. Hello, Becca. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks so much for letting me join.
No worries, no worries. So, guys, just in case you hear any strange background noises, it could be tannoys going on. There could be people walking past. Just there could be all sorts of.
Yeah.
This is live. This is live, isn't it? It's live YouTube, guys. Live
Oh,
YouTube. Anything can happen.
Oh yeah.
Boston's
Anything.
been
Hi,
placed.
Courtney.
Yeah, there's Courtney. Courtney's there. She's now, of course, some of these guys are UK based, and some of these guys that join us are from all over the world. So we've got some guys from the US. We've got some guys. I think we sometimes have someone from Hawaii, and we had some Australian guys, somebody from New Zealand, someone from
That's really
India.
cool.
So yeah, there's people from all over the world that join us in the chat. So it's fantastic to have you guys in here, and hopefully
No
they're going to
pressure.
get involved. It looks like Courtney might, and looks like Courtney's one of the ones that definitely knows who you are. I think she sent me a message out saying, "My God, you got back on," which is really cool. So fantastic to have you on the show. And let's sort of kind of like let's get talking. Let's find out a bit more about you. I think that's where we need to get to now. If you didn't know, you could probably tell by the accent, Becca's obviously an American independent wrestler. She's currently on a world tour, and it looks like you're going to be based in London for the next month or so. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
There you go, which is fantastic. Now, I know that, as we talked about, we know that you're going to be working at Wrestle Carnival. I saw on your schedule you had WXW on there. It looks like you might be heading to Italy, was it, as well?
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Just waiting to find out on that one.
Finalizing.
But there are a few dates available. So if anybody out there is listening and want to get back on the show, get her on the show. She's fantastic. She's in the UK for an entire month. So what you got to lose? We've got LDN down there, haven't we? I mean, there's Eve. There's loads of fantastic wrestling promotions in and around the London area. So come on, let's get this go. WAW in Norwich. Let's get her on that show, So loads of different promotions. Let's get Becca on so she can showcase her fantastic skills. That's what we want to see. And
Thank
we were
you.
talking about some of those earlier. So we'll get to that in a second. Now, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I mean, how did you get started in pro wrestling? Because I did see somewhere that you trained at the Killer Kowalski School. Is that right?
Yeah. So I actually didn't really watch wrestling growing up. I didn't really know what it was. So pretty much right after I started watching, I started training, and kind of got into it right away. But that being said, I've really only been watching wrestling for 4 years. So kind of a little new to being a wrestling fan. But yeah, so I started watching kind of coincident, just randomly, and I got really pulled into the women's wrestling that was on NXT. The Bailey Sasha feud I think was going on right when I started watching, and I just got totally pulled into that. And I was like, this is so crazy. I'm want to do this. So I trained at the Belltime Club in it's north of Boston, and then also at the New England Pro Wrestling Academy, which is also north of Boston. That was formerly the Chaotic Training Center, which was the Killer Kowalski School. So a lot of history at that school, a long legacy. So it's a pretty cool place.
Fantastic. How long ago was that then? I'm trying to think when that feud was.
About 4 years ago. About 2 or 3 years ago.
Was it?
Yeah,
So you've not been training long at all?
No.
No, I started in April of 2019, I think.
Okay.
So I attended an open house in March, and then started consistently training within a month. So I only started training then, and then later on that year I started to minimally started to work on shows. I had my first singles match January of 2020, and then a month later everything shut down because of the pandemic. So last year, when everything, like shows started to run again with crowds, at that point I had only had 2 matches in front of crowds. So I've really only been wrestling in front of live audiences for like a year and a half, which is like pretty wild to think about. Because I did about a year of lockdown wrestling, which was all like closed set tapings. So I think I've had like a pretty interesting start to wrestling. Like I don't think, unless you're like also started around the exact same time as me, probably can't really say you only wrestled in like closed set tapings for a year. So
yeah, it's interesting actually because a little while ago, because I do one-on-one interviews as well with different wrestlers over the year, and I remember speaking to it might have been Eric Young actually a little while ago when we talked about wrestling basically in a studio, like no audience, but it's being taped. So whether it's being taped for TV or online or whatever it's being taped for, it doesn't matter. It's being taped. And he said that what it really did, especially for the lesser experienced or the younger talents, it basically helped them to almost block out what's going on around you, and then effectively, like you're almost pretending that there's people there, and you have to like kind of like push your persona and your kind of like in-ring selling and all that kind of stuff. You have to really sort of kind of like bring that forward and push it through because you're trying to get that over like on TV. And it's actually really, really hard when there's nobody to actually perform to. So it makes it really, really difficult.
There's no like cover. Like you never have, if there's like a slip up or something, like it's so blatant. There's no crowd to help you at all. So I think for me it definitely just helps me really like focus on my in-ring work. Really just make my really like sharpen my moveset and focus on that. And also like your character work, like it is different when there's no audience, but it's an interesting challenge. And especially because when I first debuted, like when you're a new wrestler, you don't always know who you really are as a person and who you are in the ring. And to have kind of like a year of like lockdown wrestling, where it's like, okay, under a magnifying glass, like it honestly really did help me a lot, and did help me really focus on those two things. So honestly, it's like a gift and a curse. Like wrestling in front of people is just so fun. Like it's just nothing compares to it. Like I would like not want to go back to closed set tapings at all. But like I am thankful that I had that experience because it did help me a lot.
Okay, that's good. I think you're right. I think it's interesting that this, like I say, there's only so much kind of like wrestling you can do like in the gym or in your schools or wherever it is where you're practicing, when you're practicing what you're going to do and how to react, and you're trying to get a crowd going, and you don't know whether it's going to work or whether it's not going to work until you actually get in front of that live audience. So I guess there's only so much of that you can do, and then when you go in front, when you're going out, and like you say, it's just a TV taking, no noise, nothing. It's funny, we always talk about I don't know if you much, I mean obviously we're primarily an Impact Wrestling podcast, so we watch obviously primarily a lot of Impact Knockouts. So I don't know if you ever saw Fire and Flavor, the Knockouts. So you got Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz when they were a tag team. Now they started in the era of obviously no audience, and funny enough, I asked Tasha about this as well. Like, they almost decided, you know what, there's nobody here, so let's just commentate our own match while we're doing it, right? And so they talk trash, and of course, when there's nobody else in the audience, you then listen to what they're actually saying and stuff, and actually adds a completely different dimension to it, and it made them extremely entertaining because of it, because they're almost like jaw-jacking, commentating what they're about to do, what they're doing, who they're doing it to, and it just, you might as well turn the commentary off and just listen to them in the ring while they're doing their thing. And it kind of, you could see how that added so much to to what they were doing in the ring, and you can see how it made them entertaining. And I think that's the thing. You've got to find that sort of kind of that thing that you can do, which maybe not anybody else can do, which then makes you stand out from everyone else. Now, talking about that, I want to know, what is the Scrunchy Club?
Yeah, so yeah, I guess like the past few years, shortly after I debuted, I started like doing this thing with the scrunchies, where I was just like wearing them. Well, I like wore them. I still wear them all the time. I literally have one in my hair like right now. So you can't really see, but yeah, I would like wear them all the time, and I had like so many, and so I just like would wear them on shows, and like I would say like this is kind of the beginning of this like new scrunchie craze that's like going on, and so it was like kind of different. Like I feel like not a lot of people were doing it. I mean, some people were obviously, but I started wearing them all the time, and like there was like one show where like me and a few of my friends were like put together in like a little like faction, and we were like, what if we're like the Scrunchy Squad or whatever?
That's it, Scrunchy Squad. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, I would say like a local show that is like mostly for kids. So we were just kind of doing it to just kind of like, have a fun time with the audience and the kids. And like, the kids loved it. Like they were like scratchy, whatever. And so it was like super fun. But then it just kind of like took off on like Twitter and stuff. Like I would just post stuff like with my scrunchie, and like people like thought it was really funny and liked it. So I just kind of like ran with it. And yeah, people would be like, I'm in the Scrunchy Squad, and like wear scrunchies, and they still do. And I still wear scrunchies. So it's not like
I thought it was
Squad
fun.
is over or anything, but no, it is really fun.
I thought it was fun, and I watched a match. I watched a match on YouTube. I think it was at Limitless. I think it was against Ashley Vox, I think. Yeah, she wasn't too keen on getting involved in the Scrunchy Squad, was she? But I thought it was cool.
That was a fun match. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's exactly what it's about, isn't it? Creating that fun. Now, the other thing as well is I've noticed you call yourself the international pop star. So, do you sing?
Yeah, I like sing. I would say I'm more of a musician than I am a singer. But I do sing as a part of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So I have music. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and it's under the same name, Becca with a 3. Although there's someone else that released music under the same name, like recently. I was like, fake Becca, go away. Like, I'm the original, stop. But yeah, it's on Spotify. I have 2 singles out right now. I have new music coming out this summer. It's just like, in production. So really excited about that. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool because I guess, it's just like wrestling is artistic. Obviously other avenues to release that artistic side of yourself is fantastic. So did you do your own theme song?
Yeah, I have a few songs that I've used as a theme song. Yeah, sometimes I use mine, sometimes I use different music. It just kind of depends on like the vibe of the show, or sometimes just like my mood that day. I'm just like, you know what, like, hey, can you change my music to this? And I was like, okay, sure. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I just go with the flow and see what I'm feeling that day. So I've come out to my music. Sometimes I use different music. It just depends.
Cool. Now, I think there's a question in the chat there, Steve. Can you see that? I think it's from Mir.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's asking. There you go. Can you see that, or do you want me to read it? He says, "Do you prefer wrestling men or women?"
Yeah, I like wrestling, both men and women. I mean, I really enjoy watching women's wrestling. So I think, personally, I always have that little bias where I'm like, it's what I like watching, it's what I like doing. I think there's just something really magical about women's wrestling. So I would say, like, I mean, prefer it a little more, but I do really enjoy wrestling men. And there's a lot of like really, some of my favorite matches have been wrestling men. So I think, intergender wrestling opens a world of possibilities in wrestling in terms of stories and matches and creativity that I think it's exciting to see getting embraced more and more.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Terrence has got something. What's Terrence saying? Can you see it?
Yeah. Would you be interested in being a part of
Oh.
Impact Knockouts Knockdown?
I mean, yeah. Impact is such an amazing women's division. That would definitely be a dream of mine for sure.
Right, we
Yeah,
gotta get on to Scott now, guys.
Yes, get on to Scott. He's got to take on Becca for Knockouts Knockdown. Yeah, I mean, obviously we saw that they introduced Knockouts Knockdown is I think it's now going to be an annual thing for like a full all female show. Even I don't know if you watched it last year, but commentators, everything in ring, everything was all female, which was fantastic. And they introduced to a few wrestlers that aren't currently part of the knockouts roster, which is great. And of course, I suppose for them it gives them that opportunity to check you out in person. And because I think Lady Frost ended up being signed from that as well. Which
Masha did.
Masha
and Masha Slamovich as well. Talking about Masha Slamovich, you had a match with her recently, am I right?
Yeah, just a few days ago. It was a tag match.
Yes. How did that end up in the end?
How did it end up? Well, I got kicked in the head.
Was it intergender? It was intergender, wasn't it?
Yeah.
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 She's a beast.
Kyle driver.
She's a beast, isn't she? Oh, Masha, she's a beast.
Yeah, she's something.
Love it. She's something. Right. Okay, guys. Listen. So let's quickly talk about Wrestle Carnival. So the boys and I are obviously heading to commentary on the 10th of July for the Wrestle Carnival Ringmaster show, where you're going to be facing the Queen of Mean herself, Lana Austin. And I have to say, I'm really looking forward to seeing you hit her with that 450 of yours. Do you have any choice words for her? As I know she could be watching the show right now. You never know.
Choice words for Lana Austin. Well, I would say, first of all, I just want to say that I support women's rights and women's wrongs, and therefore I support Lana Austin. She might be the Queen of Mean, but I love it. And I'm just honestly really here for it. So she can be mean to me all she wants because I'm ready and I love it. Bring it on. Let's go.
Bring on the mean.
I love a mean girl. I love a mean girl. So
bring on the mean. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with Lana. She is very, 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 very mean. I think it's going to be interesting. And I hope that we get to see you live trying to get Lana to join the Scrunchy squad, because I think that would be gold. That would be gold.
I don't know if she would join willingly.
I don't think she will.
I might have to put the scrunchie in her hair myself.
Exactly. Give her the beat down, hit her with a 450, scrunchy, done.
Yeah, I've done it before. I'll do it again.
Ultimate humiliation.
Scrunchie her up. Scrunchie her up, I say. Many scrunchies as possible. But there you go. It's fantastic to have you on the show, Becca. You've been an absolute pleasure. And I'm surprised that we didn't get any tannoy. We didn't get any much interruptions from anybody walking past. Is anybody actually there at Boston Airport?
No, I'm in like a quiet corner.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good.
I'm sitting on the floor. There's not a lot of seating. It's unfortunate.
Oh no, because it's all being taken up, isn't it, by all those selfish men out there that don't give up their seat for the ladies. There you go. Anyway,
all
we
those
look forward.
Elderly people and pregnant women.
I know, exactly.
So
They're so
rude.
selfish. So selfish. Anyway, listen, we are looking forward to seeing you in person on, like I say, July 10th over in Coventry at the Wrestle Carnival Ringmasters show. If you haven't got a ticket yet, guys, get your tickets now. I know there's still a couple of tickets left, not many. There's certainly no ringsides. I don't think there's any seating, but there's definitely GA stuff.
General admission only now. Everything else is sold out.
Get your tickets. Come and see the beautiful Becca face Lana Austin, the Queen of Mean, as well as Eric Young. Eric Young, one of my favorites, is on the card as well, as long as many other. Charles Crowley, loads of fantastic people on the card. So make sure you get those tickets. Get in there, see Becca put a scrunchie on Lana. That's going to be amazing.
Hell yeah.
So thanks ever so much for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you in a week's time. Take care, Becca, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Pleasure.
There we go, lads. There we go. What a lovely guest. What a lovely guest.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she's beautiful. Love her. Absolutely lovely person. And I hope you enjoyed that. I really do. Courtney thinks that Becca is very pretty, which is nice. Yeah, lots of good stuff. We had lots of interesting stuff coming in from the chat at the moment. Guys, I would appreciate if you made me a little bit smaller right now. Very conscious of this, this, right? There we go. Yes, back to normal. Love it. But yeah, so fantastic to have Becca on the show. Great guest, and who knows, we're going to get to see her in person in a week's time. Like I said, guys, don't forget, if you're in the UK, if you can get to that commentary show, see what you can do. Wrestle Carnival, Ringmaster, some great talent on display. So make sure that you can get your tickets and be there with us. Join the TNI-UK team as we get to watch that show. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a great show. Right, guys, let's get stuck into the news and rumors. It looks like Impact Wrestling recently announced that they're going back to the Philadelphia 2300 Arena Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I saw someone they're looking at doing Thursday live, which would suggest that an Impact Wrestling would be a live as opposed to a tape show. The following day, that I think it's a special. There's a rumor that it could be Knockdown for the live special, and then they've got 2 days of TV tapings. Now, I have to say, I'm happy to see this, and I'll tell you for why. Because we spoke many times, about different formats, slightly different ways that maybe do stuff which would make it more appealing. One of the things that make Impact more appealing is if they were live, because you don't know what's going to happen. Avoid spoilers and all that kind of stuff. We know that going live is ridiculously expensive, so it's probably not something that they want to do every week. But I love the idea of and I've said this before many times. If they were to go live like once a month, so for so they go live for one Impact taping, like what they're doing now, go live for one Impact taping, do a special the following day, and then TV tapings. Then so you go live once a month on a Thursday, get your special in, and then TV tapings for the rest. I think that would be really cool. And in fairness, I think almost this is kind of what I was talking about, if you think about it, because if they go live on the Thursday, they then do live on the Friday for a special, and then do 2 days of tapings, that's effectively a month's worth of Impact, right?
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, it avoids spoilers, especially the places like Philadelphia and that way, ECW Arena, big places like that. You expect them to go live at least once or twice when they go there. Hopefully, if they go into Mexico, they'll have one live show there. That would be interesting. Or back up in Canada, to at least
Yeah,
have one
yeah.
live show when they go back out to Canada. Places like that would be, they need to do things like that.
I'd love to see them back in Mexico, and I'd love to see them back in Windsor. I think they need to be annual visits, just like a visit to the UK. So I think for me, it's like they need to go to the UK once a year, they need to go to Mexico once a year, and they need to go to Canada once a year. Everything else around, everything else fits around it. What they're doing at the moment, but if they could do that, that would be amazing. And then every now and again, maybe go to different places, like maybe India, turn up in India, turn up in Australia, for instance. There's other places that they could turn up, but I get what they're doing at the moment. That is obviously an expensive thing to do to start going to other countries. So they need to build up what they're doing at the moment. However, come to the UK much sooner than later, please. That's just on a selfish note. That's on a very, very selfish note there. I would like that.
That's not selfish. It's just UK fans marking out like music UK fans need to.
Exactly. Yeah. There you go. So nice to see TJB in the house. I'm not sure if you're new, but nice to see you in the house, my friend. And there's lots of people.
Before.
Have we? There's lots of people coming in, which is great. Thanks for joining us. And Terence, I always preach, brother. I always preach.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's well good that they're doing that, and I'm looking forward to that because the crowds, the Philly crowds were monster, weren't they?
Yeah,
they were great. Remember the last set of Philly tapings? They were so loud. They were great. We then obviously have got the Emergence Special, which is set to be in Chicago on the 12th of August. Obviously, Bison and a few of the TNI crew will be in attendance. So come join us for that one. We've also got the 13th TV tapings as well the following day. Unfortunately, I can't make that one. Just so happens that I was literally 3 hours away from Chicago when this got released. And I'm like, damn, I need to go. So I got there, but unfortunately I'm busy on the Saturday night. I'm going to something else on that night. So, but at least I get to go to Emergence, which is going to be great. I'm front row, cool. right next to Bill, and Jay Bone's going to be in the house as well. I believe Trent's going to be there as well. So it's going to be a few of the TNI crew there. So make sure you get your tickets, come and say hello. I did speak to Jay earlier in the week about maybe doing a pizza meet or something, so we can all maybe go and have a pizza before the show, meet some of you guys as well, which would be really cool. Meet some of the TNI tribe. I know a few of you are going, so it would be cool if we did something like that as well, especially the Chicago pizza, because it's the best. I love it. But don't tell the scumbag I said that, because I know he prefers New York. But yeah, you go. Yeah. So we do like a bit of a pizza pie. So we look forward to that. So that looks good, and the tickets look like they're selling pretty well too. So that's good news as well. I did notice that the Against All Odds tickets, it looks like a pretty big auditorium. So and they look like they're selling pretty well too. So hopefully that'll be pretty sold out by the time we get to the show on Friday. Fingers crossed. But what's really weird is actually the Against All Odds show hasn't currently sold as much as the TV tapings, which is kind of weird. But there you go. But I'm sure both days will end up pretty much sold out, which would be great. Even if it doesn't obviously sell out until the day, at least a nice big full crowd is going to be great. Now the other thing we've had recently, Giselle Shaw makes it known, and I say makes it known, that she is transgender, and Impact Wrestling have showed their support being with her for her very first Pride, apparently, in Toronto. So she's never been to a Pride before. So it's great to see Impact Wrestling supporting diversity. And it's great that Giselle feels, free and open to be able to, tell the world, which is fantastic. So, that's good news, isn't it, guys?
It's fantastic.
Fantastic, yeah. Yeah.
Honestly,
like
I honestly didn't know she was transgender. I always just thought she was a woman. So my perception of her hasn't changed at all.
No.
But it's good to know that once again, the wrestling community is opening up a lot more and being like we saw Kiera Hogan come out last year as gay, and Diamante. So it's good to see that we've got guys like Sonny Kiss who's recently been praised for doing a lot of stuff for the LGBTQ community as well. By Gail Kim, of all people.
Yeah, I think the main thing here is that the wrestling community is inclusive, and that's it. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, and I think it's fantastic. And it was great to see. I think it was Jay Chung, Scott Demore, and I believe Ross Foreman was with Giselle at the Toronto Pride, which I thought was fantastic, and it's great to see. Really, really good to see. And the other thing was, which was a little bit sad, that Lady Frost tweeted out that she'd asked for her release recently. Now, I did check. I checked earlier on. I have reached out to Lady Frost, and currently she's not replied at the moment. She hasn't actually seen my message, but so she hasn't replied yet. But I'm interested to see, how she is, because I know she was very, very positive about Impact Wrestling until obviously this came out. It was a big shock to everybody. Now, she did praise Impact. She thanked them for the opportunities, but she hasn't left. She hasn't been taken off the roster page yet, and there's been nothing official stated that she's not actually with the company anymore. It's just that she's just tweeted that she's asked for her release, but it doesn't state whether she's been actually released or not. But like I said, she's still on the roster. I hope that Impact have now reached out and that they're talking, and if whatever a potential issue could have been, that maybe there's a chance to resolve it. We'll just have to wait and see. And for me personally, I hope we get to see Lady Frost continue with Impact Wrestling as part of the Knockouts roster. There's some incredible talent on the roster at the moment. Some of the matches that she could have would just be amazing. But we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, what are your thoughts on this, Liz? What are your thoughts in the chat with the Lady Frost situation?
It's a confusing situation, isn't it? Like, it's confusing all around, isn't it? Because there's so much potential in Lady Frost, and as someone who was put in the very first Ultimate X, there's obviously someone that they had potential to push, and it's not someone that they thought, well, we don't want to use you because obviously she's had an injury. So that's why she hasn't been around, and they've obviously been mentioning her recently. So they obviously had potential
because she was mentioned on last week's Impact, wasn't it? I think it was mentioned in the Alicia Giselle segment, wasn't it?
Yeah. So they've obviously had plans to reintroduce her. So they've obviously got plans to reintroduce her. There's obviously a reason as to why that she's been off TV because she's had an injury. So it's not because she's it's a shame, but and it's a case of where does she go?
Well, I mean, there's plenty of places. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the other thing, a lot of people were speculating, has she had interest from AEW?
Maybe.
Or maybe, we know that she appeared on AEW, and I would imagine that if she was going to go to AEW, that they'd shown interest, they would have done it prior to her coming to Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
So,
and I know she's very good at she's good at like her gymnastics side as well. So maybe she'll make good use away from wrestling as well. You don't know.
Well, no, I mean, there is a possibility she's thinking of doing something else, but I don't know. I mean, she's very, from discussions that we've had, I know from talks that I've had with her that, she is very much into wrestling and being a wrestler. So I'd be very surprised if there's a possibility that she's thinking of jacking wrestling, doing something different, but you just never know.
No.
So we'll just have to, I guess, watch this one and see how it plays out, because you just never know where it's going to go, I guess. What about you, Joe? I mean, you're a big Lady Frost fan, aren't you?
I'm really, really sad about this news, and it did come as a huge shock for me as well. Just to have it come straight out to Slammiversary of all times as well was just but just added a bit more. She, like Steve said, she was in the first Ultimate X, and she's getting a really slow build basically. So hopefully, if she's going to be sticking around with Impact Wrestling, then her contract's been renegotiated at least, and she's on like a pay per appearance rather than a short term contract like she has been on now. At least then, if she's going to go, at least let's write her off properly rather than have her disappear. We had Morrissey leave all of a sudden and Willie Mack leave all of a sudden. I don't want to see that for Lady Frost.
No, it would be. I think it'd be a real shame. It would. And I think I spoke about that in like a private chat we had. That it'd be nice to see her at least come back for another set of tapings and write her off properly. Rather than because she was mentioned.
Yeah, unless Edwards is like saying, "I'm going to fight like Lady Frost or someone that I'm going to tag up with because she doesn't like you."
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It would be a shame if that was the case. Bonus Baby just put. I was just going to say maybe she wants to go back to a paper appearance deal. You never know. I mean, she may do. The only problem is that when you go into that whole paper appearance thing, they tend to unless they do it as in like, okay, well we'll do pay to appearance, but it's for this length of time. It could be, I don't know, but it's very difficult when you go into that frame with them to invest too much into you, because it could be a point where you say, well, actually, I don't want to go to this set of tapings because I've got something else going on, right? She doesn't get paid because she gets paid per appearance, but it does then lead you into a point where you can't necessarily invest too much into a storyline with her. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's not what we want to see. We want to see her like entwined in everything, don't we? We want to see her, becoming a big part of the Impact Knockouts roster. And to do that, then you've got to be signed like Masha. They're pushing Masha like crazy at the moment. Yeah. Well, she's signed. That's why. So the fact that Lady Frost's not been around for the last sort of month and a half or so is not their fault. But we just have to wait and see. We just have to wait and see, I guess. But it would be a shame if she was to, suddenly disappear, But we'll have to wait and see. Now, it would also seem that Impact to listen to us as well. When I say us, I don't necessarily mean the TNI-UK impacted, hosts. I just mean us.
If they listened to me, the company would be in a complete mess right now.
Yeah, probably. I just mean us as in the fans. Us as in the fans. Because they released a schedule for the Titanium VIP package holders on their website. So, making it very clear exactly what you get for your Titanium against all odds and the TV tapings. I think this is a good move. And they are listening, which is something that we've criticized them in the past for not necessarily listening to the fan base as much as they could. And this is a problem I think that, again, easily fixed. Literally, okay, we're doing the Titanium package. Let's define what that is. This is what the Titanium package is. If that's what it is, do that for every single show. These are Titanium package, and this is what you get. A little schedule page. This is where you need to be. This is when you need to be there, and this is when you get your stuff. Bang on. I think that's exactly all everybody wanted. That's what everybody wanted. And I agree with that, Bonus Baby. I have absolutely no idea why they have not necessarily signed, but they've not even used Victor. And I know for a fact he's been at TV tapings. He's been there with Lady Frost. He's been there. Why we've not even seen him on a digital, maybe a weekly digital media special, or maybe in a BTI match, so they could get a look at him in the ring and how he looks on TV, that sort of stuff. I don't know, but there you go. But very interesting, Mir. I think that would be very expensive to get Phil Collins to make an appearance against all odds. Wouldn't
he be better appearing at Genesis?
Yes, he could be at Genesis. Phil Collins could be at Genesis. That would be cool. I think it's more likely you get the Cadbury's Chocolate Gorilla playing the drums at against all odds. I think that would be more likely to see that. Do you remember that advert? Yeah. Oh, I remember that. That was great. By the way, I can play the drums. Maybe I was a gorilla. Maybe I was a gorilla. Who knows? You just never know. But yeah, no, that could be interesting if that happened. But there you go. Go and look that up. Go and look it up. Look up the Cadbury's Gorilla drums. Cadbury's Gorilla, drum set or whatever. It's an advert. It's cool.
Oh, baby!
There you go. It made me go out and buy a bar of Cadbury's chocolate the first time I saw it.
It
But
works.
there you go. It worked straight off the bat. I'm like, man, that's such a cool advert. I really need a Cadbury's bar of chocolate right now. So very cool. Now, guys, Against All Odds is coming up this Friday. We've got some matches already for the card. Now we know that there's going to be probably a couple more, so we'll get to those. We'll get to what we think those could be afterwards. As it stands at the moment, we have the following. So we've got a tag match: Chelsea Green, Diana Perazzo versus Mickie James and Mia Yim. So we know that's going on. That's like a bit of a grudge match going on there. I think it's going to be great, and I think this is the start of Chelsea and Diana as a tag team. What are your thoughts?
Definitely.
Diana Perazzo and Chelsea Green are both pushing it now that VXT is back together and that they are a cohesive unit. So this is definitely where we're starting to see Chelsea Green and Diana Perazzo gel together as a proper team for Impact Wrestling now. And the next direction for them is going to be after Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie.
Can we think of a name? For their tag team? Because I one thing I hate is when you just have basically two wrestlers and they're a tag team. Like this whole Chelsea Green and Diana Perazzo. No, that's not a tag team. That's just two wrestlers.
Diana and Chelsea have already put out what they want. What the team is VXT, which is what they were in NXT as well. So I think they're pushing to get that over onto Impact Wrestling, and hopefully they'll be announced as that.
What, VXT?
Yeah.
How can they use that though? If that was their tag team name in NXT and WWE, they can't use that surely.
I'm sure they'll come up with something, and yeah, they'll come up with something.
Yeah, definitely. It could be something similar. I don't know. They'll have to come up with something. They could, I don't know. What about BXT maybe or something? Just change a letter, but they'll come up with something. I'm sure. I don't know what VXT stands for. Anyone know? It's got to stand for something. You can't just pick three letters, can you?
I have no idea.
No idea? Steve, any idea what it stands for? Anyone in the chat got any idea?
Yeah.
I bet Courtney knows. Courtney going to know.
Yeah.
Courtney,
No,
she likes NXT.
But no, so they'll come up with something clever, and even if they come up with something unique and that, but
they'll come up with something. Fair enough. Okay. But let's face it, Diana is the fucking greatest at the end of the day, isn't she?
Oh, yes, she is.
She is. Perfect opportunity Steve missed. Yeah. Mickie James and Mia Yim together. What are our thoughts on that?
Take my money. That's amazing. That Mia Yim's been on a massive role already. She's had Gail Kim back in her and now she's got Mickie James back in her even more. This is going to be one hell of a match. She's getting a huge amount of momentum just coming back to Impact Wrestling, and now this is just going to be amazing. This match, but there's a lot. I think there's a lot of potential for them to really steal the show.
I think so.
And Diana Perazzo is an amazing wrestler. She's taken them both on now. Really experienced with both of them. And that fire between Diana Perazzo and Mickie James is still there as well. All the way back from when she drove up to Tennessee or wherever it was that Mickie James is and invaded a stables. That was as soon as Mickie James came out last week to attack Diana Perazzo, that immediately came to mind when she smacked her on the head with the saddle. And that was just incredible. So it's good to see that heat is still there. That's long-term storytelling really boiling over.
Definitely.
That'll never end.
Yeah. No, it's never going to end. That's going to keep going and going and going forever. Terrence Sullivan's come up with one. He's saying, "What about? Is that knockout? I don't know. What let us know what it stands for. You can't just come up with a random letter. Let us know what it stands for. KXT. What does that stand for? Come up with something." We then had advertised Claudia Clockwork Orange House of Fun, and of course the legendary Raven is going to be in the house as well with this one. So we've got Moose obviously versus Sami Callihan. This is going to be immense. I think this is going to be something special. So especially the fact that Raven's going to be in the house as well. What are your thoughts on this one, Joe?
I'm looking forward to this. I've only seen one Clockwork House of Fun match, and that was Raven versus Rhino, and that was amazing. I'm looking forward to. I think it's been about 4 in total, and but just hearing the name brought back a huge nostalgic feeling for me, and I've only seen it like last year on the Impact Plus app, so I've not watched when it was originally out. So that they're carrying on the whole nostalgic vibe they've been carrying on all year. You know, they brought back the Ultimate X with the knockouts. They brought back King of the Mountain with the knockouts. But all year they've been like dropping hints that the old TNA matches are coming back. You know, they even brought back the Reverse Battle Royal at Summerversary, and I think they're going to carry this on through to Bound for Glory. They're going to keep on bringing old bits of TNA back. You know, to keep on the 20-year celebration, which I think is fantastic and is what I was hoping that they would be doing. I was hoping it wouldn't just die out at Summerversary and then they go back to 2021.
Yes.
I think that we're getting more guest appearances that we thought we were. So we saw James Storm in the ring last week, and now Raven's even coming down to be ringside, possibly referee or even in the match. Eventually, we can see him get involved eventually because he's thrown to Sami Callihan. So there's no doubt Moose is going to try and piss him off.
Yeah. Now we know where Sammy gets his mean streak from, right?
Yeah.
His craziness from. He says he's friends with Raven. That's where it all comes from, I guess. What about you, Steve? What are your thoughts on this one? Because I think it's going to be great.
Oh yeah, like I say, we had to get an appearance from Raven at some point. I mean, you know, we're talking Extreme. You know, who is the innovator of Extreme? I mean, yeah. I mean, Abyss, but Abyss gets his Extreme from Raven as well. And I mean, Raven was around with the Extreme as well. I mean, he turned up around, I think it was like 02, 03, Attack and Jarrett for you know, for the belt. I think he stole the belt as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, sort of.
And let's face the facts.
Hostage.
He is an ECW like original, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, he was Extreme before Extreme was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
He was the Extreme of Extreme.
He was the innovator of Extreme. So
exactly,
you want Extreme, you want Raven. So
exactly
you know you have to bring him back. And I mean, I mean you thought you'd never see Raven, and then he appeared when Eddie Edwards was kind of around sort of in the insane asylum, weren't he? He just appeared there. So you never know where Raven is going to appear next, do you?
That was one of the best cameos they ever did for any Impact wrestler from the past, was when they had Raven just handed him was Eddie was like, I owe you one. Yes, you do.
Yeah, that was yes, you do. Yeah, no, that was great. And I love that quote the Death Machine nevermore. Love it. So I think that's going to be a cracking match, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure it's going to have some sort of kind of cinematic thing attached to it. I'm sure. So be looking forward to that. So we've also got the Knockouts World Title match, which is obviously Jordan Grace versus Tasha Steelz. You know, at the end of the day, that's obviously Tasha getting her rematch. I think that, you know, I'd be very surprised if Jordan loses on that one. I think it's now Jordan Grace to get a little bit of a run, have a little bit of her time, get a bit of shine. And actually, I'm really pleased that Jordan's taken the title now, because I think she's going to do an amazing job as champion. What about your thoughts on this one? My thoughts exactly. Ghost. What about you, Joe? What do you think?
Like you said, I'm glad Jordan Grace is the one who took the belt, because it was going to be Deonna Purrazzo or Mia Yim in my eyes if Tasha Steelz was going to lose. So Jordan Grace doing that was the ultimate shark value there, and most unexpected, and she deserves it the most out of all the knockouts on the roster. She made it clear herself that she deserves it, and she's proved why she deserved it. She went for the X Division title. She's gone for the Digital Media Championship. She teamed up with W Morrissey, and they were probably going to go for the tag team titles for all we know. So Jordan Grace is going to get the knockouts. It's got the knockouts title. She's going to take it everywhere and anywhere and defend it else, like Josh Alexander's doing with the Impact World title. And Josh Alexander even joked about Jordan Grace gunning for his belt recently. And so he's like, I got to keep this closer to my waist now because Jordan Grace is definitely going to be coming for this. But Tasha Steelz, it's good to see her get a rematch, and it's good to see her get a rematch soon because then they can move forward with her as well. Hopefully. Hopefully have her go on her own. So this whole thing with Savannah Evans isn't working out for her. She's got Savannah Evans this week as well, Jordan Grace. So that's going to cause some friction between her and Tasha Steelz, hopefully.
Yes, definitely.
It's time for Tasha to break out on her own a bit more, and Savannah Evans to get some time on her own.
For sure. What about you, Steve? What were your thoughts on this one? Are you a fan of Jordan?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I say, I think I was iffy on whether Jordan was going to win simply because I didn't know what the direction of Morrissey was. But as soon as we saw Morrissey was leaving, you're like, yeah, this is Jordan's time. This is Jordan's time to push on. Her last run was good, but you've seen the development of Jordan. Over the last year, she's only gotten stronger. She's only developed herself better, and I'm really looking forward to this run. I really am. You've seen the development of herself.
I think her as a person, physically, mentally, she has gone from strength to strength in the last 12 months. I mean, she looks incredible at the moment, and she's going to be one hell of a knockouts champion for the next. I think you've got a good 6 months of this.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I think definitely. And bonus baby, obviously we've elevated ourselves to the level of porn bots. There you go. We then got the 10-man tag match. So we've got Honor No More, Edwards, Vincent, Kenny King, Mike Bennett, Matt Taven versus James Storm, the Good Brother, and 2 to be announced. Now, I think the likelihood it would be Motor City Machine Guns. However, you don't know. Maybe it could be. I mean, I don't know. Who do you think it could be?
I don't know because Saban's already in a match, isn't he?
No, not yet.
Isn't he?
No.
Oh no, I'm getting mixed up, aren't I?
He's got a match. He's got a match tomorrow night.
Yeah, he's got a match tomorrow night, isn't he? Yeah, so it would make sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would make sense to be the Guns, but yeah. I mean, it would make sense.
Heath and Rhino, maybe.
Yeah, then have they been out long enough? Yeah, I think the Guns would make sense, but then part of me thinks it could be another return.
Yes. Yeah. What about yourself, Joe? What do you think?
I think it's going to be the Motor City Machine Guns, and I think Heath and Rhino haven't been out long enough for them to be credible contenders for this. So it's going to be Motor City Machine Guns. We've got Frankie Kazarian and Chris Sabin ending their rivalry this week. So it makes the perfect sense to put them in now with Storm and the Good Brothers versus Honor No More.
Yeah, because I think possibly that the match that they've got tomorrow between those two will possibly be the last time we see Frankie Kazarian. Obviously he'll head back to AEW after that. But I might be wrong. I mean, obviously we don't know what the agreement is, but I just have a feeling that Saban's going to win that, and then Frankie obviously will head back to AEW, and then, like you say, we could potentially move forward with the Motor City Machine Guns. I want to see a good run of the Motor City Machine Guns. I like seeing, Alex and Chris in singles matches, but I want to see Motor City Machine Guns more.
And it would be great to see the Guns have a run against like AMW.
Yes, that would be great. get them against AMW for a little run, and then get them heading towards. Can you imagine? I mean, Motor City Machine Guns versus I don't know the Briscoes if the Briscoes are back. I mean, I honestly think the only reason the Briscoes are not around is because Mark's just had a baby. So I think it's almost like a maternity leave thing, or paternity, or what they call it. So I think the Briscoes will be back soon enough. So I'd love to see them against the Motor City Machine Guns. I'd love to see America's Most Wanted against the Briscoes. I think that would be quite cool as well. But again, I don't know why. I've got this thing in my head that it's going to be Motor City Machine Guns, and it's going to be the Motor City Machine Guns that take the tag titles off the Good Brothers.
I can see that.
And then we could start seeing a couple of feuds, because eventually I'm pretty sure that OGK are going to end up as tag champs at some point this year. As long as obviously the guys have come up with a good deal. But we'll just have to see, because I think OGK would make great tag champs.
Yeah, like I say, the way they're pushing Honor No More, you do feel like Honor No More needs something soon, and the tag titles seem to be the closest thing that they're going to.
I think so. I think that's probably the closest thing at this moment they could probably put a title on them for. But again, we'll talk about it a little bit later. It looks like you've got PCO and Vincent are starting to sort of kind of like create some kind of tag team as well.
There seems to be a lot of friction between Eddie Edwards and PCO.
Yes, there does. And Vincent's kind of sticking up for PCO as well, isn't he? So, are we going to see them sort of kind of split off, or are we going to see? I don't know. But let's talk about that match a little bit later, because I've got an idea on that one. So, but I think this is going to be. I think it's going to be another great match. We saw how good a 10-man tag was at Slammiversary when there. Now we've almost got the similar. Well, Honor No More pretty much the same, except for PCO, and they've replaced PCO with Kenny King basically, and then we've got the James Storm, the Good Brothers, whoever it is that replaces them as well. I think it's got to be Motor City. It's got to be.
I think it's either them or OGK.
OGK would be is on the other side, mate. They're in Honor No More. Bennett and Matt Taven. So they're not going to be on the Good Brothers side. That's what I'm saying. So whoever it is that ends up taking that spot anyway.
Oh yeah, but I mean, eventually takes the titles.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What, and not Motor City, you mean?
Yeah, it's either gonna be the Guns or OGK that eventually take the titles.
Yeah, I can see this building up. I can see this building up the Good Brothers versus OGK, maybe having them go all the way to Bound for Glory before the Good Brothers lose titles then, and that would help them push on No More a lot more too. If
that's assuming the Good Brothers stay.
Yeah, and that's if Vincent and PCO are going to break away from Honor No More, then Eddie Edwards, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett will be like the core foundation along with Kenny King. They're the ones that are always taking taking the brunt of the offense or winning matches. If Vincent's in there, he's usually getting pinned. So him and PCO breaking away to go their own way, which would be awesome too.
Yeah, I think they'll make a great tag team. My only thing is though is I really want to see Vincent
Decay.
No, not in Decay. No, I want to see him do his own, like the Righteous or whatever. I want to see that come. Because I just think Vincent deserves to be like, running a faction. He needs to be the man.
He needs James Mitchell with him. See what James Mitchell can do.
Who would you say Vincent's faction would consist of on the roster?
Well, I mean, if it starts off with PCO, then you could add in the I've forgotten her name now. The one that was in the Righteous before. She's a free agent right now. Out on the Indies. Is it Von Starr or something?
Vicky Von Starr.
Is it her? Is it Vicky Von Starr? It might be. So she's available. There's no reason why they couldn't necessarily bring her in as part of the faction. But again, you don't want to go too crazy with loads of factions, I guess. But
Yeah.
you know, but I like them. I think they're good. I really like the Righteous, and I just love Vincent's promos because he's so
Oh, yeah.
unique. He's unique. There's nobody
Definitely.
doing promos like Vincent. Nobody. He's got his own. He's
what
got his
I'm
little
saying,
style. He's got his own style. He's got his little catchphrase. You know, like we say, it's great. I think that's exactly what we need. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it pans out. And again, we don't know in terms of
like for reals.
we don't know how far they could potentially kind of take them until we know whether they're signed, and that's the problem. And I think that's always the problem with saying, okay, it'd be great to see OGK as the tag title holders. Yes, it would, but they've got to be signed.
They're definitely signed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we don't know that. We don't know that.
But then Matt Cardona's had the GMC title, and I don't think he's ever been signed.
No, I guess, but then I'm sure he's got some. I'm sure just because it's not been announced that he's signed to the roster, I'm sure he had some kind of like, okay, well, it's pay-per appearance, but it's pay-per appearance until this point. You know what I mean? Like, so they probably had an idea that he was going to be around for a certain length of time.
True.
I think that's the key. So as long as they've got something with in place where they know they're going to be with them, until, and then they can run a program, they can build a story around it. That story they know can end at that point. And I think
a good example is John Morrison. His contract ended during a storyline, and he opted to stay on till the end of Bound for Glory or something, and to see out the whole storyline before leaving the Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. But that's because he's a good guy.
Yeah.
There's other people that aren't necessarily, would be willing to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if an offer comes up that's too good to choose, too good to turn down, then you might not be able to do that. There's different ways of looking at stuff, but not everyone's going to do that. So I think it's always best to effectively, if you know that someone's going to be with you until this point, then you write a story to that point.
Yeah.
And you have to know what that end game is going to be as well. Like we know what the end game is going to be. We have to build that story to get to that end game. And that's the important thing, which is one thing I find really like unusual or must be very difficult for the writers and the backstage people, producers, etc., with regards to when you've got people that are just sort of kind of like in and fluttering in and out. It must be very difficult to sort of kind of put that sort of stuff together. If they're signed and you know exactly where they're going to be, till when, then you can do anything you want, can't you?
Yeah.
But there you go. Anyway, so we then have obviously the first match that was announced was Josh Alexander versus Big Joe Doran, the undefeated, not pinned, not submitted Joe Doran. This, I think, is going to be an absolute slobber knocker of a match. And, I mean, it's going to be hard hitting. We're going to see one of those monstrous running cross bodies, off the ropes cross bodies from Joe Doran, that's for sure. So, yeah, this is going to be an absolute barn burner of a match, and I'm really looking forward to this because I think Josh is going to pin him, and that's going to put him over big time. What are your thoughts on this match, then, guys?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, but at the same time, I feel I'm kind of more intrigued on the Violent by Design situation because. Yes, I think this is going to be fantastic for Josh, because we assume that Josh is going to be the first person to beat Joe Doran, but he's now beaten EY, he's now beaten Dina, and it looks like he's going to beat Joe. He's kind of clean sweep VBD, and at the moment, it looks like this is all going under EY's nose kind of thing, so it really looks like there's after Against All Odds, there's going to be a complete clean sweep or fresh start for Violent by Design.
Yeah, Yeah, I agree with that, and it does make it difficult because when you think about it, if Josh, like you say, beats all three members of Violent by Design, where does that leave Violent by Design moving forward? We know that they purposely, obviously, EY is absent without leave at the moment. So the question is why? What is he doing, and where is he doing it? Maybe he needs to do some reevaluating. Maybe he needs to bring in someone else to the Violent by Design faction. He needs to bring in an insurance policy of some sort. I don't know, but who knows what's going to happen? But I still believe that no matter what happens, Josh Alexander is going to pin Joe Doring because that would just completely solidify his reign up to this point as being like a true badass motherfucker.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
There's definitely. Can I just say quickly, Bonkers just put something up there. Motor City Machine Gun versus Bullet Club, Austin and Bay. Yes, that would be a great match. I'd like to see Austin and Bay working together. Now they're Bullet Club, Bullet Club, two sweeting together. Who knows what's going to happen? I think that would be cool.
And I think we need to see more from Chris Bay as well. We haven't seen much of him lately, sadly.
Well, I have a funny feeling, it's the same with anything. I mean, we talk about stuff where all the time about kind of like you can't feature everyone all of the time. You have to, especially when you've only got one show, one weekly show, which in reality is an hour and 35 minutes of when you take out the adverts. It's actually an hour and 35, sometimes a little bit longer, of screen time. Well, you can only get as many in as,
But it's one of those things where you've got Chris Bay in the Bullet Club, and now you've added Ace Austin. It's like, well, okay, it's do something with, it just sort of feels like
But again, at the expense of who? This is my point. This is a point I'm making. You only have so much time. So if you want to see more Chris Bay and Ace Austin, which we're probably going to moving forward, right? Who do you drop? At this point, you need to take someone away to give them the screen time, right? So, all I'm saying is, my point is at the moment, it's not that they're dropping the ball on Chris Bay. He's had a lot of screen time. He's now taken him away a little bit. Someone else is getting some screen time. Then they'll go and he'll come back. That's kind of how they do it. And that way you create buzz as well. Like, the excitement. Oh, Bay's back. Yeah. That's what they're trying to do, I think. And like I said, I saw someone saying, you got Zicky Die, you got, Sticky Rice and Swinger taking up a spot of someone like Bay. Well, is he really? Or are we just doing something a little bit different for a few weeks, and then we'll bring him back later, take them away a little bit, do a few more backstage segments with them, and then we bring Bay, Austin back in the ring again. That's I think that's kind of where it goes with it, and I think you just have to be a little bit fair with it sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So fingers crossed. Moving forward, we're going to see a lot more of Chris Bay. I think that's where we're going to get with it, and I agree, Norbert. Yeah, inevitable. The Finesse Club. I get it. Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing, so that's pretty much against all odds that we know so far. Now, we've got some thoughts on who we may have to come, because if you think about it, we've still got the Knockouts Tag Title match, and we know they've been building something there with Giselle Shaw and Tennille Dashwood. My favourite, Tennille Dashwood, because obviously Madison's out with a broken nose, and to then take on Ragnarok. So there's something that's been brewing there. So I think we may get to see that. We've got there's still obviously something to do with maybe an X Division title match for Mike Bailey possibly, and then again maybe Ace Austin versus Mike Bailey could be the way to go for that. I don't know. And then, of course, we've got the DMC title as well. Are we going to see the Digital Media Championship? Are we going to see Rich defend that as well? So I think, quite often on these specials, we see 8 or 9 matches. And there's at the moment, I think we got 5. So 6, 7, 8. there's at least another 3. At least
Yeah.
another 3. And I
Yeah.
guess we'll find that out tomorrow night, I guess.
Definitely. Yeah.
What are your
It's very
thoughts on that? What are your thoughts?
It's very interesting that the X Division 4-way match that I think is a number 1 contenders match for the X Division
it
title.
is.
It doesn't
Yes.
include Ace Austin.
No, it doesn't.
So it's
But that's because he's in a match against Alex Zane.
yeah. So yeah, that's very interesting that obviously he has his rematch, but he's not the first one to get a shot at it again. No. So that's quite interesting, isn't it?
Well, we'll go and talk about that match in a second, because I think whoever wins that match obviously is going to be who faces Mike Bailey for the X Division title against All Odds. So we'll talk about that in a second. What about the possibility for Rich Swann?
Yeah, I
Who
can
do
see
we
him
think?
defending, definitely.
I honestly, it's an open book. I mean, I don't know how far. Yeah, honestly, I have no idea, because they haven't even, to my knowledge, they haven't even referenced the DMC title.
No, but he's. We'll get to that in a second. But he is on the BTI match, isn't he? Rich versus Raj. So we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But maybe something will come from that. Possibly.
Yeah. Could be. Yeah.
You know, we'll have to see with regards to that. But I think there's definitely a possibility that we could certainly see all 3 of those. I believe there's going to be a buy-in as well. Well, you know what I mean, a countdown to against All Odds. So there's still a possibility of getting a couple of matches in on that as well. You know, so interesting, very, very interesting. Let us know in the chat what your thoughts. You know, what do you think could potentially be the extra matches that are added to A, against All Odds, and B, the countdown to against All Odds as well, which we know we'll get.
I think we're going to get Rich Swann versus Shearer.
I had a funny feeling of that as well.
Yeah,
because Rich Swann's post-match promo at Slammiversary, he's like demanding that this belt gets defended more often. You know, he said he's going to take it everywhere and defend it everywhere, and it's going to get shown whether one way or another. And so I think he's going to take on Raj Singh on BTI, as you've mentioned, and he's then going to get a match against Shearer against All Odds, which I think it will be a bloody impressive match. You know, we've seen him take on huge guys like Michael Elgin and trying to think of some other big guys he's taken on, Killer Cross, you know, and guys like that. And Rich Swann is taking on some huge guys that can really chuck him around.
Brian Cage. Do you remember that classic match where they
went on for over nearly 25 minutes, and Rich Swann was he had his spine shattered against the side of the ring at least 4 or 5 times, and blood was flying everywhere. I was amazed. I was amazed he could still he was still going after that match. You know, he's got a hell of endurance, and this would be a great way to help give Shearer some more diversity in his matches and show that he has improved a lot more since he had the last big run on Impact Wrestling, because he is so much better than he's shown.
Yes, I agree.
I've seen a load of his matches on OVW, especially against Jesse Gullis, and he is absolutely incredible.
Rich Swann is one of the most underrated wrestlers in the world, if you ask me, and one of the best.
Definitely.
Just an incredible performer. Can I just say hello to Malachi, by the way? He's just turned up in the chat, so it's great to see you, bud. Thanks for joining us. Now, Impact release info that the Dallas, Texas tapings will be called Lone Star Stampede. So that's going to be in August the 26th and the 27th. One thing I want to talk about that, right? I thought about this many times, and someone brought it up on Twitter earlier on today. They create these like names for the sets of tapings that they're doing, like, you know, like you say, this one's called the Lone Star Stampede.
Yeah,
we've got the one after Against All Odds is called something as well. I can't remember what it is.
That's up the Bayou, I think, is another one we've had.
Exactly. We have all these sort of kind of names, right? But when they do the set of tapings, there's no reference to that whatsoever, right? So why theme something if you're not going to use that theme in the show? It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, maybe that's something they need to look at.
I think maybe it's just because you associate those tapings as Against All Odds tapings. or
What?
associate those tapings with the pay-per-view or with the event or whatever.
No, well, maybe I don't know, but I mean, obviously,
Depends
what
how
I'm
close they
saying
are
is,
to it.
Yeah.
what I'm saying is what they're talking about here is that they're releasing the fact that they're going to Dallas, Texas on the August 26th, 27th. There's no special, so they're marketing it as the Lone Star Stampede. That's what they're saying. So
Yeah.
they're going to take Lone Star Stampede, but when you get to those tapings as a fan, right,
It's just another set of tapings.
it's just another set of tapings.
Yeah.
Right. So where does the Lone Star Stampede come in? It doesn't come in anywhere. So you're
Maybe,
theming something, but you're not pushing that theme. If that makes sense, it's not.
Yeah,
themed.
I got that immediately. You know, when they went to Mexico, they did Mexican Death Match, and there was
Yeah,
your theme
exactly.
there. So
Yeah,
if
they did something.
They go to Texas, have a strap match, or something
Exactly.
like that.
That's what I'm saying. Do something which kind of relates to what you're there for,
Yeah.
and even maybe sort of kind of like make it a stamp. Brand it up. Why not? I don't
Yeah.
understand why you can't do that. Brand it up that way.
I
but-
didn't know if it was a reference to anywhere specific that they were going. Maybe.
Well, yeah, Texas is known as the Lone Star State, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, the horses, Stampede, that's where
Yeah.
the Stampedes and all that,
Yeah.
that's where it comes from. So I get the reference,
Yeah.
but, what I'm saying is they do a great graphic. They give it this theme, the Lone Star State, the Lone Star Stampede. It's in Texas, so this is what we're going to do. We'll theme it around Texas. But then that's all you ever see of that. That's all I'm saying. From a marketing point of view, it's a bit of a wasted graphic, really, because you don't ever use it again.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it is. So you market it as something that it isn't. In reality, if you were to buy a chocolate bar, right, and you open it up and it's got a banana in it, right, you would sue the company for do you know what I mean? Like false advertising.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So
That is not an appropriate question.
So that's what I'm saying. If you're going to call it Lone Star Stampede, then that's a theme. You're calling that set of tapings a Lone Star Stampede. But when you get there, it's just an Impact. Everything is branded as Impact. That's it. It's not any different. Yeah. So effectively, it's like you're branding something as something that it isn't. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're going right, it's against all odds. You go to the show, it's branded as against all odds. But you're going to go to the Lone Star Stampede, and it's Impact Wrestling. It's not what it says on the poster. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
I do,
yeah.
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 I'm sure everyone in the chat gets me. I hope they do anyway. So, but that's all I'm saying.
I saw the post on Twitter, and I thought exactly the same thing. But then, of course, there's something is it makes sense to do it. But the other thing is do they are they going to have a name for every set of tapings they go to? Because what if they run out of budget? Yeah, they do.
Have you not noticed that? They do.
I have noticed that. They're going to keep next year. Are they going to use the same name again? Or because because some people would say, "Oh, this is getting too cheesy," but it just makes perfect sense to do it. So let the people complain. I think Impact Wrestling.
I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying don't do it. I like it. I think it's cool.
I think it's good.
I think it shows that they are, they're paying attention to where they're going.
Yeah, it's immersing the fans a lot more.
Exactly, but you still need to
back it up a bit more.
You still need to back it up a little bit more, I think. And like I said, even if it's just a speciality match, it's like
and that would probably be easier because otherwise it would make your week-to-week TV look different every week.
Exactly,
it
gives you something different, even if you introduced it right as the Lone Star, Stampede or whatever. Even if or you had that little logo in the corner of the TV, or just something to say that that's what this is. It's that set of tapings. You know what I mean? It's just for me. Sometimes it's the little things that make a big difference. But there you go. So it's already been mentioned in the chat. Caleb Conley, and I believe Jake Something also recently appeared on AEW Dark, both in fantastic losing matches, which is a bit of a shame. But But it was great to see them on there. I saw someone saying, "Oh, Caleb with a KO. I didn't even know he wrestled." I'm like, man, really? But there you go. And also,
Preferably
it's been
Caleb Connolly. Go back to that. That was amazing.
Caleb Connolly is a great wrestler.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Great,
so
great
underrated.
wrestler. And you know, most of his really good matches when he's been a suicide as well.
Yeah.
But there you go. Great to see Tyreek, the ultimate pusher, out on the streets of allowed to sell in general admission tickets for Against All Odds as well at the tapings. Again, like I said before, this is what we need to see. You know, get out in the streets, get selling those tickets. You know, get selling those $25 tickets to all the, you know, all you know, on the streets of Atlanta. Get people in there, get those bums in those seats. You know, and let's sell these places out. That was fantastic to see that. I'm assuming he's out there. He's heading up some sort of kind of street team or whatever going on there, which is great. I hope to see this moving forward. All the different places that they're, you know, all the different places they're visiting. We want to see more of that. He's also been putting up quite a few bits and bobs all over the place. And I might add, he shares our show quite regularly. So thank you for that, Tyreek. I really appreciate it.
Let's see if we can get him on.
I reckon we could.
Let's
Let's get Tyreek on. Let's get him on.
You know, Roberto, thank you for everything he's done. You know, if he's promoting us as well,
he's definitely promoted our show a few times, which is fantastic. He's the ultimate pusher, so it would be great to get Tyreek on the show. Actually, you know, interestingly enough, let's see if we can get that through.
There's my invite to him if he's watching. If you're interested in coming on and get in contact with us.
That would be cool. I mean, you could promote Impact stuff on here. That would be great. But there you go. So
we'll promote the ultimate promoter.
Yes, we'll promote the ultimate pusher. But there you go. Okay, so we've also had the digital media exclusive match this week, which was Savannah Evans versus one of our show's favorites, Alicia Edwards. It was recorded in Nashville. Which was good, so it had a good crowd, and I actually like it when they do them when they actually record them in the at the Impact tapings rather than throwing in the ones from some beatnik match somewhere that there's about 3 people in the crowd. So I do prefer when they do it in the actual wherever they're doing tapings or whatever. This was a good one. It's also filmed really well, so it's a good, it looks good. And actually, I have to say, I thought Alicia did a really good job. There was no way she was going to win it. Savannah Evans is like twice her size. But bless her, she gave it a good go. And she lasted a lot longer. It was a good 5 or 6 minute match. So she lasted way longer than she did against Masha Slamovich, which was cool. And again, in terms of Savannah, it was good to see Savannah get a singles win under her belt without anyone in her corner. She did it all on her own. She gets out there, does the job. That's good to see. It's just a shame that it's at the expense of poor Alicia, who we absolutely adore. But I love it when she comes up to she's like, I love it. I think it's fantastic. She's a great character, and it's great to see her. But hang on, what was that? That match was taped before Countdown to Slammiversary aired. And to be fair, there were so many people in the crowd as well, which is fantastic. But yeah, no, I enjoyed the match. Did you guys see it, or have you not catched up with that one yet?
I've not caught up with it yet, but I assumed that Alicia Edwards would have lost to Savannah Evans. So knowing the result, like I said last week, knowing the results up to these matches just adds fuel to the fire. You know, I haven't watched Madison Rain's match from the week before yet as well. So yeah, the digital media stuff I've got to catch up on, but I'm going to watch both of them probably tonight or tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to just watching Alicia Edwards and Savannah Evans go at it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be. It was not a bad match, mate. I think Alicia can sometimes come across as sort of a little bit. She comes across as sometimes a bit sluggish, but again, it's very difficult when you're as small as she is to go up against someone who is big as Savannah is. It's very hard to look believable when you hit them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's tricky as well because Savannah is still on the greener side.
Yes.
So it's hard if you've got Alicia in there who is working with someone who is still on the learning side too.
Yes.
So they're both,
I think she's great when she goes in. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
great when she goes in with someone that's a little bit more experienced.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
agree.
like I say, that they both worked as well as they could, and that there was enough in there that you thought there's enough in them going forward.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Totally. We also have had the BTI match. It's been advertised, which is going to be, as we spoke about earlier, Rich Swann versus Raj Singh. We think, like you say, there's some implications with this one with regards to Against All Odds the following night. We have I happen to agree with what you're saying, Joe. I think we could end up seeing Rich Swann versus Mahabali Shira. I have a funny feeling that would be on the countdown. I think it'll be on
The truth is, you're nothing but a mid-card donor.
Yes. So yeah, I think that's probably where we're going to go with that one. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this one, Steve?
It's going to be an interesting match, and like I say, I do agree with you that I think that it is going to lead into something further with the DMC title. I can't decide whether I think it will be a DQ and maybe lead to something with Raj, or it could even lead to a tag match, maybe with Bhupinder.
Rich Swann, Bhupinder versus Shira and Raj Singh. Yeah, maybe. But then again, that then takes out
It does, yeah.
the DMC title match, doesn't it?
I mean, Rich saying that he's happy to defend it as much as he wants. It could maybe even lead to like a 4-way.
Oh, no, we haven't seen one of those. Oh, have we? Have we seen one of those for the DMC?
No, we've seen the four-way qualifier for the number one contendership, but we've never seen any match with more than 2 men in. We've not seen yet.
Okay, so there you go. That could be interesting. Yeah, that could be interesting. A multi-person title match. And again, if Rich retains, that makes him look strong. So that's good.
Yeah, and again, I think you've got, it could lead into more of a, leading to a one-on-one, because you can easily protect 2 people, can't you?
Yes, of course. Yeah, exactly, definitely. So that would be interesting on that. I'm like I say, I'm pretty certain that's going to lead to something.
Yeah.
We've then got obviously the show. We then got Impact Wrestling. We've got Jordan Grace versus Savannah Evans. As I said, they seem to be putting Savannah in more and more matches at the moment. So they're obviously giving her a bit of a push. I think we could see her breaking away from Tasha Steelz fairly soon, going on her own, but we'll have to wait and see. What's this? Digital Media World Championship. I'm starting not to care. No, I mean, like you say, but, I understand what you're saying, but maybe someone like Rich Swann could make it relevant again. Let's see. So, thoughts on this one? Like I said, I think this is obviously going to be not an easy win for Jordan, but it's definitely a Jordan Grace win. It's not a title match either.
No.
So it's just a one-on-one.
Yep. Yeah.
But we'll definitely see Jordan win this, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. And you don't want it to be an easy win, because you don't want Jordan going over the previous champion just like that, do you?
No. So I think we'll just have to wait and see how it pans out with Savannah. Maybe Savannah give her a bit of a beat, and a bit of a beat. I mean, she's not going to. I don't think she'll lose to Savannah, but she'll give her a good match, tire her out a little bit.
Yeah.
Soften her up a bit for Tasha the following night. That sort of thing. We just have to see how that one pans out. We've then got the number 1 contender match for the X Division. So we've got it's a 4-way with Chris Bay, Trey Miguel, Steve Macklin, and Laredo Kid. Again, it's a very, very good match to have someone like Steve Macklin in, or Laredo Kid. You've got former champions in there. You've got 2 former champions and 2 that haven't won it. But again, I'd be very surprised if it's not Chris Bay or Trey Miguel winning this. Very surprised. I think it'd be one of those 2. And then it'd probably be Laredo Kid taking the pin, because I can't imagine them wanting to pin Steve Macklin with the push they're giving him at the moment. But who knows? I think the problem that we've got is if they give it to Steve Macklin, At the moment, he's pretty much undefeated. Am I right?
He's lost one match,
One match.
one or two matches. Yeah,
But if they're going to eventually push him for an X Division run, I don't think you don't want him to lose against Mike Bailey. My worry is that they go in against Mike Bailey too early. I guess that's what I'm saying here. You don't want to suddenly, like, Mike Bailey wins and then he loses in his first title defense. That would be a real shame.
Yeah. Well, and the thing as well is you got Mike Bailey, who's a champion, and I mean I'd love it to be Laredo Kid, but if you are going Laredo Kid, it's face versus face.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be either, for me, Steve Macklin it's going to be Trey Miguel, and Trey Miguel is slowly turning into
Venom.
Into a Venom, and so the anti-hero. He's a face, but he's a really, really dark side of the face character now. He's getting more.
He's definitely going darker. I think you're right.
Yeah.
So, and although we've seen Trey Miguel go for the X Division title God knows how many times now, so I would like it to be something different. That's the only problem with Trey Miguel going for it again. But he's such an incredible athlete, and him and Mike Bailey put on amazing matches. You forget about that. It's another Trey Miguel versus Mike Bailey match, and just sit back and enjoy the match. So it's bittersweet.
Well, I think the way this one goes though is that at the end of the day, the last time they met, Trey beat him.
Yeah. So this will be the rubber match because Mike Bailey's beat Trey Miguel before, and
so it's bit 1-on-1, isn't it? It's 1-on-1, and potentially that could be the one. But again, I just don't see Mike losing it against all odds because I just think that it would be way too soon. What's the point in giving it to him if you're just going to lose it literally on his first defense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, like I say, Ace didn't have much of a reign, so it would feel weird. But Mike Bailey dropping it quick as well. Exactly.
So I don't know. We'll just have to see. I mean, I did say to Lewis Carlin earlier today, it'd be really weird that, if he was to. I mean, I know, there's nothing to say that Mike Bailey has a short run. He could have a short run, definitely. But again, I think it would hurt him more to do that. They've been building him up. He's been having some great matches. He's been all over the place, not just on Impact. There's some great matches. You don't build him up to give him the title and then literally tear him apart with one match. So, I guess we're just going to see how that one goes, I guess. Then we've got the Good Brothers versus PCO and Vincent. And we were talking about this earlier, in terms of, building a tag division. Are we starting to see PCO and Vincent break away from Honor No More? And start to form maybe, we're going to have the, PCO and Vincent tag team moving forward. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, I'm pretty certain the Good Brothers are going to win because they're currently champions. I don't think this is a title match.
It hasn't been announced as well, I don't think.
It is literally just a tag match. And again, I think that's to make them look strong going into against all odds. Where they're in the 10-man the 10-man tag. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how that one pans out. But again, I think PCO and Vincent could make a really good team.
Yeah, and I think like you say, I think it will be a loss for PCO and Vincent, maybe driving that wedge between them and the rest of Honor No More even closer.
Yeah, because I think they're clearly doing that very, very subtly. I think they're doing that. Yeah, I think they're definitely doing that very subtly. So but I think either way, it's going to be a good match. I think we're going to get Bright Lights Machine Gun again. I'm pretty sure of it. And we then got this should be interesting because this is one that's been sort of kind of like pushed upon us through the whole Giselle Shaw and the influence thing that they got going on last week. So we've got Giselle Shaw versus Rosemary. Now, if you think about it, Giselle Shaw is actually a perfect fit for the influence.
It makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Because, she's all about the spotlight. It's all about her, which is very much what the influence are about, isn't it? So actually, I think she's a perfect fit for me to be part of that faction.
In time, do we see Madison coming back and joining up with them, or coming back in another team?
Well, no, that's my thought. I think what they're doing is they're actually turning the influence into a faction again.
Yeah.
So it'd be the three of them. So a bit like the Beautiful People when you had Madison, Velvet, and Angelina Love. You know,
Okay.
there was three of them. You know, so there is a potential of that, and also you could, if you think about it, you got the Dollhouse as well, which in reality is also kind of similar to a degree.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know. That's what I think. I think we're going to end up with three of them in the influence: Giselle Shaw, Madison, and Tennille. I think that's what we're going to end up with. So that's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm assuming that it's going to be some sort of shenanigans going on. Giselle's going to get the win. She ends up taking. They end up as Tennille, Giselle taking on Rosemary and I was going to say Havoc then. Rosemary and Taya Ragnarok for the tag titles against All Odds the following night. I think that makes sense. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Then we've got the grudge match, I suppose you could call it, between Ace Austin and Alex Zane. I'm well chuffed that we're getting some more of Alex Zane.
Let's hope he gets his socks back.
Let's hope he does get his socks back. But again, Ace Austin versus Alex Zane, that's going to be a treat. That's going to be a feast. I'm really looking forward to this one. I think this is going to be a great match. What are your thoughts on this one, Steve?
Oh yeah, really look forward to this. You know, I've been impressed ever since we saw Alex Zane in Impact, and he's someone who, from the first time we saw him, I was like, we need to sign this guy. And I was disappointed actually when Austin joined the Bullet Club, because I was really hoping we would see these two team together.
Oh yeah, them is the, you know, I don't know what you call it, the sauce against the Austin, Ace Austin in the sauce would be great.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Nelson versus Sauce.
Exactly. You know, this is going to be interesting to see exactly this. For me, this is probably going to be the match of the night. And as much as Chris Sabin and Frankie Kazarian, you know, is going to be amazing, I think this is going to be the match of the night. Like, two young guns going at it. It's going to be great.
And there is story here.
And there is story.
There's a lot of story. I watched a lot of both the stuff I did in Japan. So, and they had some incredible matches, both of them. And Ace Austin's slump after joining the Bullet Club, it's all coming together now. And he put out a tweet earlier today, really pinning the blame on Alex Zane, that the whole reason why he's lost, he lost at Slammiversary, was simply because Alex Zane was in this match. So, you know, and he's like, I'm going to end this right now on Thursday. So, and I do agree. I really thought we were going to see Alex Zane and Ace Austin team together as well, because that would have been amazing. But I feel like I cursed both of them, because I was gunning for Ace Austin so hard. I know you guys are probably a bit pissed off at me. The amount of times I've tweeted about how Ace Austin just gave me a thumbs up. Ace Austin's like you know, the feedback I got from Ace Austin was amazing when he was in Japan, and I was really pushing for him to go all the way and win the Super J Cup, and I really did think it was going to happen. But this is going to be good, and I hope this rivalry continues a bit longer on afterwards. Hopefully, maybe even against all odds, we might hopefully see a match between the two of them, even if it's on the pre-show. It would be nice, or even if we get Chris Bay and Ace Austin versus Alex Zane versus someone else, you know, that would be good.
Do you know what I think would be a great match? Ace Austin, Rich Swann, Alex Zane for the DMC title.
Yeah, that would be good too. Especially because Alex Zane and Ace Austin digital media exploded when they both went to Japan. Especially Ace Austin, the fans just took to him like. Even Ace Austin was really, really humbled by it, but the response globally he got when he went to Japan. It's like
people awesome.
People have said it before. They go to Japan in wrestling, and the world just opens up even wider. And
exactly.
it's amazing.
I mean, they know a good wrestler when they see one. Let's just face the facts. They know a good wrestler when they see one. So then we got the main event, which I think is going to be Chris Sabin versus Frankie Kazarian. As I said, I have a feeling this. Chris is going to win this, and it'll probably be the last time we see Frankie Kazarian. I could be wrong, but that's the feeling I get. That's what's going to happen here. Either way, it's going to be a great match between the two. We had a little taster of it. I think it's going to be great, but I just think Austin and Zayn is going to just kind of tip the balance on the best match of the night. I think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think Kazarian's going to win this one. I think because both of them booked themselves as the future, and Frankie Kazarian stuck with that gimmick afterwards. So I think that the whole point of this rivalry is to finally finalize who is the future of pro wrestling.
The true future.
That's the true future of pro wrestling. So I think Frankie Kazarian's going to get the win. But there's no doubt this match is going to be incredible. Even the brief 5 minutes we got from them before Nomura took them out was amazing. So this is just going to be even better. There's that much anticipation and build to it from Slammiversary, and since the match was completely thrown out the window, it would have been a shame to see Frankie Kazarian go without this match go ahead.
I agree.
So I think that this is a great way to say thank you to Frankie Kazarian after everything he's done for TNA, and if he's to go with the victory, then that's great because Chris Sabin's not going to lose any momentum at all.
I've noticed recently as well some of the original signings of the AEW made. They're all starting to come to the end of their contracts now.
Yeah,
and I'm really hoping that that Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian don't re-sign, and then we see them come back to Impact Wrestling for a final run, or go backstage and help out. Go backstage, do some producing. And all that kind of stuff. I'd really like to see it. I would absolutely love to see, Kaz and Daniels back together again.
I think Daniels is head of talent relations, isn't he? So don't know if he's going anywhere.
After his appearance that he made, like several months back, where he didn't end up really doing a lot. We think we got to see one match. I was surprised we didn't see him at Slammiversary.
Yeah, well, like I said, I still think there's that it will continue through to Bound for Glory. I still think we'll see. Against all odds, we're seeing Raven, so I still think there's a lot of names that will continue on until Bound for Glory.
I hope so. I think it'd be cool. And again, it'd be nice for some of these guys to sort of return properly as well.
Yeah.
To have final runs with Impact. I think it would be great. If we saw that, really would. Now, guys, I think that's pretty much all we've got time for today. I think we've covered loads of stuff. We've had a fantastic guest to start us off for the evening with Becca. She was joining us from the airport in Boston. That was fantastic to see. But guys, please don't forget to head over to the TNI Patreon for exclusive extra content when you sign up. Also, make sure that you watch tomorrow night's TNI flagship Impact Live review directly after the show is aired, and that's going to be available obviously on Twitch and YouTube. Also, all TNI shows are available for listen on the go fans as audio only via SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, basically wherever you listen to your favorite shows, we are there. Joe, where can we find you on the socials, buddy?
You can follow me on Twitter at JKEmptySpace. You can jump onto Facebook and look for me there. Look for #EmptySpace, #IntoTheVoid, or #ADailyGiggle if you wish to tickle your taste buds and expand your knowledge of what it means to enter the empty space. But do step into that threshold with an open mind, and you just might keep your sanity.
Might be
being the key essential must pay attention word.
Exactly that. How about you, Steve? Where can we find you, bud?
You can find me over on Twitter at simplysteve311. I haven't been too active on there lately, but give me a follow and I will try and give you a follow back. You can also, likewise, not been too active on my articles lately, but if you head over to WrestleBuddy.com and look under the Impact Wrestling banner, you will find any of my articles that I wrote probably a good while ago. And like I say, I will try and get back to them, and try and give them a read, and I will try and get back to writing them.
Okay, they are good, guys. I say every week, even if there isn't a new one up there and you've not, checked out Steve's work, it's definitely worth checking them out. He really does think about them and does his research, and that's what you want from a decent writer when it comes to Impact or wrestling in general. Does a good job, so well done, buddy. You can find me at Lord Bison 45 on Twitter. You're more than welcome to search me out on other socials if you wish, but that's where I generally do my wrestling talk on the old Twitter sphere. So go and check me out on there. Like I say, give me a follow. I'm rapidly heading towards 1,800 follows on there now, so help me hit that. That would be fabulous. I'd appreciate it. I do follow back. So if you're after some follows as well, then I will follow you back. Now, please take the time also to help us move up the rankings on YouTube and Twitch by giving us a thumbs up. If you're new to us and you like what you've seen as well, don't forget to give the old subscribe button a little tickle, or a press or a smash or whatever you like to do. But just give us a little subscribe. And of course, don't forget to give the bell a squish, a tickle, or even a smash to make sure you don't miss any of the great content coming out from the TNI UK and of course US teams each and every single week. Loads of great stuff, whether it's from reviews, interviews, or even just Impacted every Wednesday. I mean, there's just so much going on. Get involved in that. I want to say a quick thank you to our guests for joining us from the airport in Boston. So thank you very much, Becca, for joining us. Don't forget to get next Sunday, Ringmasters, Wrestle Carnival, TNI UK team will be there ringside. Why not come and join us? I know there's some general admission tickets still available. It's going to be a pretty packed show as well. Some amazing stars, some amazing talent on the on the card, including the incredible Eric Young. He's going to be there. And, of course, Scotty Too Hot, he's going to be there as well. So look forward to that. And former guest and friend of the show, Charles Crowley, the Wrestle Carnival champion. He's going to be there as well. So let's make sure that, if you can get the commentary, make sure you buy those tickets and get in the show and come and say hello. I think we'll be branded up, so come and say hello to the boys. And Boomer Bison's going to be there as well, so you get to meet my beautiful Boomer Bison. We know how cute she is, don't we? Bless her. Well, she's cute to you guys. She's a bit of a monster to me, to be honest. No, she's not. She's beautiful. She's wonderful. But guys, don't forget, if you want to support TNI, head over to the Spreadshirt store or the ProWrestlingTees.com/Total Nonstop Impact. Grab a shirt. All helps us keep this channel going, helps us up the production levels, keeps paying our StreamYard subscriptions, and all the different bits and bobs that we need to do to keep this channel going. So please head over and do that if you can. And of course, you can give us super stickers if you want to do that. We often get those, so appreciate it if you fancy doing that as well. Really do appreciate it. And guys, listen. It's all been said, pretty much. All been said. I've been Bison. They've been Joker. And, of course, Simply Steve. This has been episode 89 of Impacted. Take care, everyone.
We're Bison! We are Impacted!